Hi, my name is Rachel, and I'm going to tell you about my sexual abuse experience. Um, I'm really hoping it doesn't get taken down or flagged or reported, because it is a little bit graphic. And if you're triggered by things of sexual abuse content, I wouldn't suggest watching this. So the first pertinent detail is that I was bullied very mercilessly during my childhood, from like preschool age until high school age. So like I was beaten, my looks were made fun of. I like wasn't allowed to have a voice, and I was isolated from other people by this other person. And so this caused me to have very pretty severe social anxiety and to isolate myself from other people. And so when I first met my abuser, I was at my 15th birthday party. My friend and I from childhood, a different childhood friend, share birthdays that are close together, so we would often have parties together. And on this particular birthday, she invited me to go out with her and some of her friends. And I was pretty nervous because I didn't know anyone, but I decided to go anyways. But because I was so nervous, I was isolating myself a lot, sitting alone a lot. And I was just generally nervous. So that's where the prior bullying comes in. So my abuser likely noticed that I was isolating and probably thought, like, that's an easy target for me. I mean, I can't say exactly what he thought, but that's generally how abusers' brains work. So he kind of started talking to me and convinced me that we should kind of go away from the group and go outside to the parking lot, because we were at the mall. And right away he started to act strange, like not normal behavior. He started just to ask kind of weird questions. I don't remember everything specifically, but one thing I do remember that was very strange was he rubbed his cheek against my cheek. And he did that like 2 or 3 times, which was obviously very strange behavior. I've never met anyone since that does that. And I definitely think that he was trying to push his boundaries, and see how far he could push his boundaries. And I knew that there were red flags there, I had a gut feeling that, this isn't right. But I kind of ignored all of those red flags, because I was craving attention. And I would say that I was craving attention because after my experience with the bully, I thought that the bully was my best friend. And I know that sounds absurd and completely weird, but I thought she was my best friend. And she was the only person in my life willing to give me all of her time, all the time. And I knew that the relationship at one point was unhealthy, but I didn't, as a young person, I didn't want to let that go, because I knew that if I let that go, I wouldn't have another person that I could spend all of my time with. And after I wasn't friends with her anymore, I felt obviously much better because I wasn't being bullied every day. But there was an emptiness inside me where I craved that attention again, of someone willing to give me all of their time, all the time. And suddenly I was getting that again from this new abuser. So immediately after this party, we exchanged numbers and we started texting just endlessly all the time. And it wasn't very long in our relationship together before he started bringing the idea up of having sex and wanting to bring sex into the relationship. And I'm Christian, so I explained to him my beliefs and wanting to wanting to save myself for marriage, and that I really wasn't supposed to. And of course, I think firstly, as a teenage boy who was not Christian, he really didn't care. And secondly, I think mostly in that part, it was probably the teenage boy hormones at that point that were really taking part initially. And so this next part is hard to explain to someone who hasn't been raped, or to someone who who you're trying to, I guess, like, get on your side or whatever. But, so the first time that he wanted to have sex, like, I knew my beliefs, but of course I had a curiosity as well because I was at a teenage age, and I was like in high school. My friends were like talking about it, um and but I think the more importantly, I was afraid that if I didn't do this for him, I would lose him. Um, like, if I didn't give him what he wanted, I would lose all of the attention that I was getting. Um, and I think that trumped any other, like, feeling that I was having. Um, and, um, so I remember the very first time, like, very vividly. Um, I was like very, very nervous. Um, and at first I said yes to it, for all of the reasons that I just explained. Um, and this part gets a little bit graphic. But so he um, initially was going to use a condom, but he started having trouble with the condom. Um, and then he told me he decided he wasn't going to use one. And like I said, I was already nervous. And that's when I was like, I can't do this. Like, I told him about my apprehension, and I was like, I don't think I can do this. Like, I don't want to. So, but he kept pushing on. He wanted to. So, there is sometimes a gray area with rape. Like, did the person really say no? Um, and was the other person really pushing them? But if the other person is apprehensive at all, I believe it's rape. So, he pushed on, and, we went on with it. And, a woman's first time is like never how they make it seem like it is in the movies. I know that's like cliche and kind of seems silly to say. But I feel like in the movies they always make it seem like it's this magical experience. And it like um it is like this completely pleasurable experience, all around. And if you're a young woman and you're seeing that in the movies every single time, you're going to think, like, oh my gosh, I want that. Like, I want that magical experience of my first time. But that is not what it's like. Because for almost every woman, the first time hurts, and it hurts a lot. And it's not only that, you're filled with emotion as well. Like you're unsure, not necessarily to the extent that I was, that it was rape, but you're unsure, and you're nervous, and you could be happy, you could be upset, and you're filled with all of these different emotions. And it's okay if the first few times, if you say, wait, no, I'm not ready yet. And that's one point that, like, I want to get across. Like, it's okay if, as a young woman, if you say, wait, no, I'm not quite ready yet, because that first time, like, it can be scary. Anyways, so after the first time, the sequence of events becomes very muddy in my mind, because me and my abuser had a 5-month relationship, and he raped me almost every time I saw him. And the hard thing is that I consented some of the times. And when I tell some people that, they're like, oh, well, it's kind of difficult. Like, this is a difficult, like, situation because you were in a relationship and you consented some of the times. So it's like a difficult situation. But, like, to me, that's like invalidating the fact that, no, like, I was raped for months and months. Like, the fact that I consented some of the times and that we were in a relationship does not erase the fact that I was, like, emotionally tortured and physically raped for so long. His parents pretty quickly figured out what we were doing. So they when we were hanging out, they started kicking us out of the house, and making us, like, do things outside. And not to say that, like, all we did outside was, like, bad things, but, like, but that meant, like, we were, like, in public a lot of the time. And so that only made me, like, more apprehensive, and more of the times I would say no. And he would force me more of the times. But I would say probably, like, the most horrible thing that he did, was that he, sometimes we would hang out with his friends, and I remember 2 times specifically that he forced me to do it in front of one of his friends. Like, 2 different friends, 2 different times. And that, I think, was the most traumatic to me. And it was, yeah. that was probably the worst. So, a lot of people have a really difficult time, like, getting out of an abusive relationship, and, like, and I can tell you why. It's because my abuser, he was good at what he did. He I don't know if, like, all abusers are built in a similar way, but, he spotted me as an easy target. First off, he knew how to coerce me, and then he steered me away from my strongest support systems, which was my family, my friends, and my religion. He made me extremely paranoid. So the thing that finally helped me to break away was that my mom and I used to go to a woman's Bible retreat every year. And so that year we went. And I wasn't feeling particularly faithful. I felt completely like a scumbag, like a sinner. Like a sinner's sinner. And, like, it was a very dark time for me because I felt like I had no one, like, none of my friends, none of my family. I felt like I was a disgrace to God. But, so my mom and I had been given a room to ourselves that was, like, full of empty bunk beds, and it was a beautiful room. And she slept on a bottom bunk, and I slept right above her. And one night, when we were sleeping, there was a thunderstorm. And if you're not Christian, this can be hard to, like, comprehend, but it was, like, a very Christian moment, like, looking back. It was a very godly moment. So there was a thunderstorm, and there was, like, the loudest clap of thunder that I've ever heard. And it was like one huge clap of thunder, and it echoed off of all of the mountains. And then it sort of passed. And I, like, crawled down from my top bunk and into my mom's bed, and slept with her for the rest of the night. But I think looking back, it just kind of showed me that, like, not only was God, like, not only is God more powerful than any situation that there is, not only is he more powerful than the most, like, heinous thing in your life, the worst abuser that you're dealing with, he is the one that comforts you, and he is the one that, sends you back to comfort. And, not only did I need God, like, I needed my mother, like, I needed my family. And then, when I broke it off with my abuser, he completely turned the tables, and it was, like, no more of this, like, gushy attention giving. It was he became like extremely angry, and and then after that, like a week or two after, he said that he had tried to kill himself. And I don't really like mess with that stuff in the sort of way that like if you say that you have tried to kill yourself, whether you're joking about it, whether you're saying that to try to scare me, whether you're using it as a tactic, I don't mess with it at all. Like, I will either send an ambulance, or I'll make like one of your family members check on you, or that kind of thing. Like, that's a very serious thing to me, and like, you know, I don't mess with that. So my parents called his parents to check on him, and that was it. I blocked him from everything. I had wanted nothing more to do with him. But yeah, I think the like hardest thing to deal with today is that some people still don't like believe me because, oh, there's this small fact or there's that small fact, like you said yes some of the times, or like you know, like it happened so long ago, like why did you wait so long to tell your story, like you know, but I think the most important thing that I have to say is that I know my story. Like, I know every single thing that he did to me, and my abuser knows every single thing that he did to me, and God knows every single thing that happened. And I have God. And whether my abuser has God or not, and if he doesn't, I truly wish that he did. I have God, and God has helped me through my whole journey, and I, you know, I, although my faith dwindled, I never lost faith, and my faith gets stronger every day, and that is, I think, the only thing that will truly heal me. It will be no reconciliation through the justice system. It will have to come from God. So I hope whoever watches this, that this helps you in some way. God bless you.